Gee, this really says a lot about our society. Alright, thank you. Now that I have your attention, did you know that paleontologists back in the day used to shove bones randomly together to see if it was a dinosaur? And that Sword and Shield did exactly that, with a fossil Pokemon that is a dinosaur tail with a fish head for a face? God, I love him so much.
Now that's comedy.
Okay, Pokemon Sword and Shield, the newest Pokemon games are finally out on the Nintendo Switch. The big, proper mainline game on a home console. And no, this isn't my first ever Pokemon game, even though I've never talked about it on the channel before. I've actually had a very extensive history with the franchise. Back in the day, while everyone was playing all these other games, I was still with my Nintendo DS, replaying the same Pokemon games over and over and over again. Even growing up, that time when everyone was like, ew, Pokemon, let's all buy Call of Duty and FIFA. And I'm like, yeah, FPS, sports games. Oh my goodness, the distortion world is amazing. What I'm trying to say is that Pokemon is embedded in my childhood, from being one of my first games to giving me so many fond memories. I have played all of them at launch except for Black and White, till I then realized you needed it if you wanted to transfer the mons to the 3DS games, and man, finishing that in 19 hours was an experience I'll never forget. However, I am aware that the series has been shifting in focus ever since the 3DS games, and as I slowly find all these other amazing JRPGs that are popping up here and there, I find myself in an odd spot with Pokemon. Ultra Sun and Moon are to this day the only Pokemon game I have never finished, and maybe someday I'll talk about that, but that's left me in a more neutral stance with Pokemon these days. However, it's still Pokemon, and the game has doggos as legendaries. Of course, I'm very interested in it.
Such a good boy.
So that brings us to Sword and Shield, where the internet was constantly trying to tell you that these are the worst things ever since fish walked on land. These games are set in the UK, and you definitely know it's Great Britain when you got sausages on the barbie. Trust me mate, we Aussies and Brits are very similar. Not like this. Alright, so I guess it's time to name our protagonist. Oh, now you may be wondering why of all the names would I give myself that one, and there's a very good reason for it. Anywho, why is that cat standing on its two legs? This isn't supposed to be like that. So this is our main character, and of course we pick the female, the male gets like no customization. We then are introduced to our main rival, Hop, who will constantly tell you that he's our rival, standing next to the most adorably stupid Pokemon, Woollo. Yeah, it ain't happening, buddy. So Hop's thing is that his brother Leon is the champion of the Galar region, and his life goal is to beat the unbeatable man, who's sponsored by every single company you can imagine, Raid Shadow Legends. He says for us to do that, we need to complete the gym challenge, which is to take on 8 gym leaders and win, making our way to the finals. Guess this means we gotta pick a starter. Damn boy, you cold-blooded. Literally. Well, I'm picking you. Why is it so tiny? Alright, time for a name. Link in the description, thank you for your support. Now to tell our mother the good news. And we rush back home to see... Oh no, the sheep has broken through. Dude must have been watching Shaun the Sheep at night. So to bring back the floof, we head to the Forbidden Woods. And with this weather, I mean I gotta do this.
Fog's coming in.
Well, making our way through, we notice the fog gets thicker until suddenly... Oh, it's a legendary Pokemon. I guess this means it will run away. No, wait, why are we battling it? I am thou, thou art I. Well, that was exhilarating. So Leon's Charizard eats the sheep, as Dragon would, and we make our way to the Professor's assistant's place, because the Professor doesn't do anything in this game, who is named Sonia, or Athena Sykes. Yeah, okay, I know like 3% of you would know who that is. Man, why she gotta hit home like that? Sonia then gives us the Pokédex and boom bang, it's time to start our adventure. The main gist of the Pokemon games is you catch Pokemon in the wild, to then train and level to battle others. Now a really good thing about this game is that they finally removed most random encounters, as nearly all Pokemon you can see and avoid if you want. But I told you birds, I don't have any more breadcrumbs. Stop following me. Now after this you get to go on a train towards the big new feature of the game, and that's the wild area. So the first thing you'll notice is that, oh my goodness, you can rotate the camera, while every other JRPG has been doing this for years. Anyway, this is really cool, as the wild area is huge with many Pokemon roaming around. The idea is that it's trying to simulate a more open world Pokemon, and well, I mean, it's a start. Now the thing about open worlds is the problem that comes with level scaling. Since you can go anywhere, you might come across a Pokemon that is a bit stronger than you anticipated. Level 26? We can do it. Oh no! We can't do it! You couldn't get away! So to combat this, as some people still might risk it all and catch it, you might then have a too high level of a Pokemon. Well, they introduced a level cap. Yeah, you can't actually catch a Pokemon over that level till you get a badge, and this carries through even on places that aren't the wild area. Then you also have this feature here with these pillars of light. These are the raid battles, and you can do them with a CPU or people online. Guess not. This brings us to the other big, and I mean big mechanic of the game, Dynamaxing. As due to some magic star crystals, you can launch your Pokemon to Godzilla size at certain areas, so not all battles have them. And with this, you and 3 others must defeat a giant Pokemon to get bonus items and so on. It's quite a neat concept, with some Pokemon even having unique forms in this mode. Oh no, Pikachu gave up on his diet. This is also the main gimmick of the gyms, as the last Pokemon will go big boy. Don't worry though, it's only for 3 turns, so if you can ride out the hit, you should be fine. Guess not, eh? Well okay, back to the wild area, and I want to mention that for such a big place, I gotta say, I really like the movement in this game. As in how the character moves, the running speed, it feels very fluid and smooth as opposed to the 3DS games. You do however get a bike later on that can charge up through muscle energy.
Gotta use a generator.
And later on you can use it to ride on water. Yeah, this doesn't look that safe, does it? But the wild area also teaches you a thing that you can do, and that is camp with your Pokemon. And don't worry, it's not limited to that area. If you want to go in the snow with them, then by all means. So pitching your tent, you can interact with your party of Pokemon. And my goodness, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen. You can talk to the Pokemon, play with them, or have them fetch a ball. I don't think it works that way. Now after this, you can also cook, where a little minigame pops up, making you mash the A button and spin the stick to make the perfect food that even the top chefs will love. But at least these two love it. God damn, this game is so adorable. And with that, your party gains experience, but also can heal, which is helpful if you ever need it. Not that you will, because as usual, the game is very generous on experience and the free healing. Now, the main purpose of the wild area is to catch many Pokemon, but me, personally, in every Pokemon game, I actually never gave in to that gotta catch 'em all slogan. No, once I have my team of 6, that's it. I like to use all the Pokemon just from that region, and I mean, this is probably the best designed Pokemon overall. You have a ram, doggos, a James Bond lizard, and a shotgun snake. So when the wild area mostly has older Pokemon, it didn't really interest me, which is why I didn't spend as much time as I saw from other players. Also, I wanted to get out of here as soon as possible. But okay, add revenue and hop make it to Stoke City, where I could talk about probably my favorite feature in the game. So if you're new to my channel, there's like 2 things that really make me love a game. One is rhythm minigames. Well, close enough. And the other is character customization. Because holy moly, there is so much of that here. So in the major cities, you get the hair salon and boutique. At the salon, for the low price of $3,000, you can change your hairstyle. Damn, this really is an Ace Attorney referenced filled game. And for the low price of $1,000, you can change things like eyebrows and yes, even your eye color. I'm guessing you wear eye contacts? Oh no. Then you move on to the boutique, where you can buy many different clothing items. And yes, they do show up in all the cutscenes. And what's this? A limited Ramona shirt, only available in 2019. And the link is in the description. Well, that sounds great. Oh my god, this is so bad. But honestly, I love this so much, and pretty much the reason I tried to earn more money in the game was to buy as many outfits as I could. Yes, ad revenue is truly a fashion icon, or fashion disaster, I'm not too sure. Now I'll get back to this in a bit, because we gotta mosey on and register for the gym challenge, where we pick our number. Yeah, ad revenue is a bit of a pyromaniac, but after registering, they tell us that the ceremony begins tomorrow, and that we actually have to spend the night at a hotel till the next day. Dare I say it? This really reminds me of the anime. Like the fact that they mention, oh, you gotta stay overnight in the city, register for the big Pokemon tournament, have an opening ceremony. The game feels a lot like the anime, and that's a good thing since it adds a bit more realism to the world. Well, as real as the anime could get, but before we can do that, it seems some hooligans are blocking the reception. Oh, Team Yell. Creative. I guess you are the evil team in the region? So the opening ceremony is where we see all the gym leaders we'll be facing, and afterwards we get introduced to the chairman who runs the whole country. No, seriously, like the energy his company makes powers the entire region, meaning he's very rich, and since we are poor, he don't care about our fashion. After this we make our way west to the first grass gym with this big boy. Now the gyms are a mixture of Sun and Moon and the older ones, as in when you enter you have to do mini games like herd sheep, move a bumper car, or so on, before you then get to battle the leader. A few of these were interesting, plus some of them were staples to the franchise like puzzles or quizzes. However, at the gym leader, it becomes a huge big football match with a crowd and everything, and winning gives us their uniform and league card. Which brings me back to the customization, as you can now wear their uniform, mixing and matching it. But then you have these league cards where you can also make your own, and this was amusing with so many options. There were backgrounds, effects, poses, faces. You could even change the type of shine on the card. This game is really too much. This is really fun to spend so much time in, and I would have loved for this to be expanded upon, as only important characters give you cards, so why not every trainer? And maybe make it so they're like collectibles with card packs, you spend in-game money and so on. But anyway, ad revenue continues on, before arriving in this magical place where she meets the mystical... Why must you be one level over? Curse you, level cap. So yeah, now I guess is a good time to bring up that this game is easily the best Pokemon has ever looked. I mean, a lot of the cutscenes have this amazing depth of field effect, the character animations are so unique, and some of the expressions are so adorable. Yes, Sonia is best girl. But this leads me to another point I have, and that's with the game's towns, because some of them look really great on the Switch, with this fairy place being a standout, till you realize the problem with it and other places. Is it just me, or is there not much things to do in the cities in Gala? Pretty much it's either the Pokemon Center, a few houses with NPCs, then one random shop you can't buy anything from, then the hair salon or the boutique in the fancy places. A lot of the towns just feel empty despite being visually appealing, and it doesn't leave me wanting to keep exploring the more you go on. And okay, you know what? I don't know if I'm gonna ever make more videos on this game, but I actually want to talk about the story. Because yes, I do play Pokemon for the story. Yes, I know, while most people go for the battling and capturing, I actually love these games for the stories and worlds they show off. There is just something charming about how Pokemon shows off the regions, the characters, and the lore they create. And I mean, this game easily has the best human design characters overall out of any of the games, so I just want to talk about the story and my opinion on it. But don't worry, I'll still skim over things and not go too in depth, but if you don't want any of that, skip to this part in the video. Alrighty? Okay. Well, Team Yell, they're not an evil team. They are a roadblock that yells. That's it. Nothing about them taking over or awakening some sleeping legendary. No, this is a completely different story to pretty much all the other Pokemon games. For there is no evil team you're constantly butting heads with that you're trying to stop while getting your 8 gym badges. I mean, it's good they're changing up the formula, but for what we got instead and how it was executed, well... Okay, so after making our way around town, we get to these structures where Sonia tells us about the law of Gala, which is pretty much that there was this dark, evil day. But these two heroes and their pet doggos put a stop to it. Yep, the doggos have weapons. Then fast forwarding, we meet up with the old chairman Rose and his assistant, while he's going undercover, because he's too popular. Gee, no one will dare notice you now. So we learn that the way he got the energy was through the star crystals and the Dynamaxing. All the energy released helps power the entire region. Now keep in mind that this is during the 3rd gym, and when you get to the 7th you start to realize, okay, Team Yell ain't gonna reveal any bad intentions. They're literally a poor man's Team Skull, even closing off their town in a similar way. Now then you get to the 8th gym, and after beating it, I'm like, is that it? There's no evil to take down? Now we have to go into the finals where we verse each of the other contestants, and then the gym leaders again with the winner facing off against the champion, Leon. And by the way, there's no Victory Road or Elite Four. Then still up to this point, not a single peep about any force we have to stop. It really is just a game about us trying to win a gym challenge at 3 AM. But then, of course, we get the plot twist that Chairman Rose has trapped Leon up the top of his tower. Oh no, I wonder what horrors he's unleashing. We better get up there. And climbing this tower was some of the most tonal and consistent thing I've ever heard in a game. It's a frantic rush to the top, but for whatever reason, the game plays this chill, happy music. I'll get into more of the music later, but nothing about this screamed, oh boy, evil villain stuff. We then make our way up there, and finally it looks like someone is going evil with his assistant, you know, the person who barely had any screen time. And to be fair, her battle was really one of the toughest ones. I mean, seriously, stop using recover. You should have run out of PP by now. Then we finally see the chairman. He's like, oh, don't worry. I was having a friendly chat with Leon about how the dark day is coming again and we need to stop it early. Leon is like, I don't care, you can wait one day, I got a match against ad revenue. Well, okay, fine, I mean, it's only one day, I'm sure Chairman Rose can wait one day. So, I guess then nothing wrong? Time to take on the champion then? Well, okay, we go fight Leon. Oh, who could have guessed he couldn't wait one day? Chairman Rose is the bad guy? So his plan was to stockpile all the energy from the Dynamax crystals to future-proof the city from any more dark days. But apparently it's coming years down the line and he couldn't wait one day to talk to Leon. And I guess they created a big evil thing and exploded. Well, this means the match is called off and the group rushed to the basement where we battle the chairman. After winning, he's like, it's too late. Eternus has woken. Go to the top of the tower for some reason. So we go up again and battle that Eternus thing in a raid battle, with the two doggos coming in to save us, because they are very good boys. We then capture the Dynamax energy dragon thing and the doggos run off. It then cuts to the next day where Rose turns himself in and we then have to battle the champion. Is it just me or this region's priorities really are not in order? So at least the champion battle was pretty tough, and with that, the credits roll. Don't worry, there's still more, because we get introduced to Phoenix Wright and Miles Edgeworth with funny hair and an attitude. Great. So these two actually act like bad guys, say they are the rightful ancestors to those two kings, and the world should worship us and not the doggos. Also, we need to bring about the dark day again or something. So they then run around the whole region Dynamaxing random Pokemon in the gyms, and we have to go to them and beat those Pokemon. Then cornering them, the two are like, aha, you fools. We already put energy into the doggos. Now we can rule the world. But the doggo says, no you. And so we capture it to calm it down. The two are then arrested, and Hop captures the other one with a final battle against him. Then it ends. The whole game. Okay, so yeah, that was kinda all over the place, and not really that great. Like, out of all the main Pokemon games, I think this has gotta be my least favorite story. I mean, I'm happy they tried to change up the formula with having no evil team, but couldn't they have introduced the chairman earlier with more scenes of his energy crisis? Or even having these two trying to at least hint that they could be the bad guys we might want to take down? For me personally, having a story just be, oh, gotta be the strongest trainer, doesn't really win me over, because the past games had so much more interesting interesting story set pieces, and the way it just explodes out in the end really felt off with its pacing. As someone who plays Pokemon games for the stories, I didn't really enjoy those last few hours. Also, by the way, there's like no difference in which version you get, unlike past games, at least story-wise. The doggos both do the exact same role and aren't representing two opposing ideals, which you would think a game named Sword and Shield would have really jumped upon. But if you like the story, that's fine. I'm not saying it's bad, I just feel they could have executed it much better. It's definitely not the worst Pokemon game, let me tell you that. Okay, so then out of the spoiler talk and into other things, I felt that this game's difficulty was paced pretty well. I did battle every NPC and I didn't really feel the need to grind crazily like other JRPGs. I mean, also getting experience in the game was the easiest yet, so even grinding wouldn't have been a chore. Then to other things, and firstly, the dialogue. So much of it has this British charm, which made it so much more noticeable that this game didn't have voice acting. I know it's a Pokemon staple and most people don't want it, but it kinda would have been cool to hear the British accents in the game and how they could have done regional differences and things like that. Then with the battle animations. Yes, it wasn't a big deal to me personally, but I agree, some were dumb. Like my Ram jumping to double kick only then to kick for a headbutt. Now to the music, and well, this was interesting, because a lot of previous Pokemon games have had absolutely amazing soundtracks, but for me, this really changed with the 3DS games. In them, I would like a few standout songs, but the rest were average for me. Not bad, just meh. In this game, I did have some real favorite songs, but the rest of the time, I actually thought they weren't that great. Like, a lot of them really didn't mesh that well in the area. But that's just me, I know music is subjective, but it really did feel like the composers shied away from intimidating boss battle kinds of songs, and those are usually my favorites. So then, in the end, where does that leave us? Well, holy moly, this game is not the worst thing ever made as some people were making it out to be. For all the things people brought up, when you actually play it, it's really fun. I mean, that's how it's always been, and there's no difference here. Of course, it's not perfect and they could have improved on so many things with the money they earn, but it did plenty of new and interesting things that I would love to see in future games. I mean, the next one could be the Gen 4 remakes, so I can't wait to see what they do with that. Can you imagine the underground back with online? Okay, but please, Game Freak, you can do whatever you want to these games and add whatever content you want to them,
But
do not put this bald man into the games. I know you want more mascots, but please, no, I'm begging you, not this absolute monster.
Trojan, RamZaes, Magnum, Chic!
Whoa, hey, my voice is here, and oh wow, we have a Patreon now. Also, how many people are actually listening to this point? If you do, make sure you put a comment saying AI Somnium Fast got snubbed at the Game Awards. Okay, thank you, bye.